All right, everyone. Your host, Cy Smith, getting ready to interview a brother who is someone that you definitely should know, and it's going to be exciting because when I first met this brother and the energy, and then knowing his background is going to just give you confidence about where we're going as people, as Black people going forward here. I'm not going to give too much because I'm going to wait till he get on so you guys can hear firsthand. So that's coming up in a few minutes. In the meantime, the sister I just did a live with to my Facebook audience who was able to watch her, she's going to be our district leader for, her last name is, what's her last name? B. So January and July. So she's going to mainly be helping us January and July as district leader for the Chatham area in Chicago. Chatham is linked to 606. I mean, it's linked to Philadelphia, 19106 zip code out there. They are responsible for all of our missing persons nationwide, all unsolved cases nationwide. So Philadelphia and Chatham plays a big role in the safety aspect in all of our lives. So we want to wish them success in meeting more and more people so that we always have eyes and ears looking out for our women being trafficked, kids being trafficked, people who lost a loved one, all our missing persons who still haven't gotten a good response yet. And that's the benefit, 60619, led by Governor Erica Dunn in Philadelphia. So I'm gonna talk about technology because that's his background. He's a tech guru. And we're gonna talk about Africa too. Angola is our country that's linked with Philadelphia and linked with Chatham. So Angola in Africa, our sister Lucia, and also Paris in Angola is who we send our pennies to Angola to support with the work on the ground that they're doing. In your zip code, it's the same structure. It's linked to one of the 55 African countries. And when you donate your pennies, that's where they go to whatever linkage is there with you. Now, while we waiting on Senyo to get on, I want to just talk about real briefly every Wednesday being Economic Day. So today, we talk about spending money internally with our own. And that's important for us to do that, you guys. We should be able to name 4 Black people that we spend money with at the end of each month. Is that my brother Senyo there?
There he is. There he is.
What's going on, man?
The man, the myth, the legend. Oh my.
Looking good, my brother. You look
likewise,
good.
brother. Likewise.
Hey man, you know we got work to do, so just doing the work, you know.
No doubt. I see you out there in the street, pounding the pavement. Business as usual.
No, Senor, this is it. Like for 20 years, this is what I tell people, man. No matter how God take us up high, this is where the passion is, down with the people, man. You get to reach people where they at, man, in their comfort zone, you know?
That's it. That's how you're going to make that real impact on the ground.
On the ground, man. I love it. I love it. So I was giving people a little prelude to you coming on. I billed you as the guru.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
So I want to make sure they know the background first, because your story, man, is just phenomenal. So let's walk through that first, man. Like, who are you, man? And how did you get to where you at now?
Well, first of all, I do have to, share my gratitude, brother, for allowing me on your platform. I go around telling everyone how I'm impressed with what you've been able to put together with National Block Club. I mean, it is phenomenal. And in addition to that, I'd love to to give praise, to Brother Reven Fellows and to the man above, for making all this possible and connecting those doing the work. I'm Senyo Adore. I was raised in the west suburbs of Chicago, and both of my parents were born in Ghana, West Africa. So, my father came here without much to his name. My mother came when she was 19, and they got it off the muscle, and they had this dream of the American dream that so many immigrants buy into, that they're going to come and change their circumstances for their family. Prior to them coming here, though, I do have to preface, we were somebody before we showed up. So I come from a long line of infrastructure developers. My grandfather built roads in Ghana, West Africa, some of the first roads, and he was a German trained engineer. And if you know anything about German engineering, they ain't cutting no corners. So I come from that cloth. My father himself was a welder. He welded on the very first, hydro dams in Ghana. So, my mind and everything that has been put into me, while I was around them and even before I got here, has been around infrastructure development. How do I utilize the tools of infrastructure to support and unlock value for my people? I'm walking around seeing frowns on faces, seeing folks depressed, seeing folks trying to understand how to get out of their rut or their situation, and I look in my toolbox and say, what do I have at my disposal that I can deploy to at least inch them along, right? The idea is I don't have all the answers, but in my small corner, as they say in Ghana, in my small corner, this is what, from an energy standpoint, I can bring to the table to help unlock value for our people. So, I'm like you. I love the community. Chicago's been good to me, welcoming. Beat me up the way I was supposed to get beat up and get.
That's right.
That's right. Because that's part of the process. Is Chicago toughens you up. So, I've been blessed to be around the world, and I brag everywhere I go that y'all don't hold a candle, to the shot. So it's nice to do work in the rest of the world. So I've been fortunate enough, to develop really massive projects in Ghana and in Senegal. But
your training came from Illinois, right? Didn't you go to SIU though?
I did. I'm a Saluki, so not to be mistaken with SIU Edwardsville. We don't know what they got going on over there, but at Carbondale, that's where the real hitters are. So I actually joined. It's funny because in Carbondale there was this rap of, hey, brothers over there, you're not serious. You got the players ball and you got homecoming, and we just had this rap of it's party time. But as an adult, moving around and as a professional, in a lot of really high spaces, I'm running into folks from the Dale that are doing really big things. So, I just say that to say, the story is never quite fully written, and I think it's up to us to kind of determine our pathway and our future, So I was trained as an electrical engineer in Carbondale. And then in parallel, I was serving with the US military. So, they broke me into microwave antenna systems. So I can build you, a transceiver, receiver. I can, make sure that the generator is running and the battery's there. I can throw that all in the back of a Humvee and drive around, and I have a mini production studio on wheels, so that was my job while I was out there, and it got me comfortable and confident, around technology. From there, I moved on to General Electric, and was building power plants from New Mexico all the way to Georgia. That was my territory. So, whether we're building it to support a community or to support a paper mill, I'm very familiar with, old school fossil fuel generation. But
now,
when
what
you know
age
better,
were you, Senyo? Were you in your 20s at that stage? Where were you?
running wild, running wild. I was in my 20s. I was in my 20s. I was talented and I was in the right place. The Southern hospitality. I got my second and third helping of the Southern hospitality when I was down there. And it's really, again, I love people, at the end of the day. So wherever I'm going to be, I'm going to connect, and see what's going on as it pertains to our people. So I was living in Houston in the third ward and ran into some beautiful people out there, a great community of folks that, really understood how to take care of one another. I mean, there was times when a hurricane would hit and you got brothers, on canoes, like brothers got canoes on deck, and they paddling up to people's houses and getting grandma down and making sure that she gets to safety. So, I find that, who you are, is magnetic, is magnetic, and you draw a certain kilt of individual to you just based on what you're projecting. So I've been lucky in all my spaces to be able to connect with like-minded folks that, really, like, at the end of the day, we all love to do big things, but it doesn't matter a bit if the people around us are suffering. That's what I hate to see more than anything is folks suffering, and that might be my grandmother. She put that Bible into me and beat it like a drum, so, and I took that stuff, I took it to heart, in terms of following the word and just making sure that, it's people over profit, in every event, in every case.
Yeah. Now, with the state being Black in America, can you speak to the perception of the U.S. compared to what you see on the ground, going back to the continent, like, inform our audience about what's perceived and what's real between here and the continent?
Yeah, no doubt. It's interesting. It's interesting because that question varies depending on the generation you're speaking to, right? So you have the older generation, like my parents, those born in 1960 and earlier, that have this, we need to get to America to kind of improve our circumstances, etc. If I'm not going to Europe or if I'm not going to America, then I'm just stuck in the rat race of Africa, if you will, which in their mind is even worse than the rat race of America, right? But then you start seeing, as the younger folks that are more in tune with the technology, and as we're getting more connected, we're in the information age. So, the veil is slowly being lifted, and folks are understanding that all that glitters ain't necessarily gold, when it comes to,
right.
No doubt, so the perception, particularly as it pertains to, the system, I think they understand that the people might be good, right? But the system that you're living in has been created and perpetuated by outright racists, right? I mean, these are folks that have no desire to watch Black people and just people of all hues, but my specific interest is with Black folks, so I don't get into the people of color conversation. I'm talking about Black folks. Okay, is the system is not made for you to thrive. It's not made for you to flourish.
Right.
And you spend a lot of time trying to navigate, those waters, right? And they come in without that trauma, right? Holding them back. So they can't understand, at least fresh in, why Black folks are in the condition that they're in, right? They can't seem to understand what's wrong, what's going on. Like, don't they want to? But when you start looking at we know, I came here, my dad will tell you, oh man, I didn't have shoes on my feet till I was 18 years old. And, I was walking through the fields and snakes used to bite me on my leg before I went to, he had them those Bill Cosby type stories, so it's an education on both fronts, right?
Big time.
And big time. And if we're not in the same spaces and we don't have a collective vision and a shared vision, ultimately we can be pitted against one another.
Okay, well, that's what they do, right? That's how they get down with the Charlie Brown.
That's how, exactly. So I've been about the business of, hey, let's sit down. What are you working on, brother? Okay. Oh, you normally farm that work out to India. Okay, here's a Ghanaian company that does the same thing. Here's a Kenyan company that does the same thing. Here's a Rwandese company that does the same thing. And this is something that I learned while I was working out in Texas, right? Was at the end of the day, good work. When you're working with people, you got to share a goal. I don't care if they're a redneck in the backwoods. If I can step in and make your job easier or make your life easier some kind of way, that's a way for us to break bread in a way and to start to get some understanding. I got to the point, that's what I got to the point where I was in Texas in the no-fly zone for Black folks, and I was running around hunting hogs with certain guys that in a different context I might have been on the spit. So I think it's as much as we can kind of force people to come in the same space and work around projects, right? That's why I love projects. People love a good project, and you slide them in and they don't even know they're working together. By the time it's over with, they best of friends, their families know each other. The guys don't even talk as much as the wives talk. It's that kind of thing. And you're not caught up in why this person's so different from that person.
Right.
All you know is y'all just accomplished something beautiful together. So, I say that to say there's a lot of misconceptions, a lot of biases back home. I will not mix my words about that. Like, there's a lot of biases, and I think vice versa. There's a lot of biases from the African American community about Africa, right? But now you're seeing folks hopping on planes, spending weeks at a time in Africa, packing up and shutting down operations, saying, I'm going to live in Africa, and not coming back. So this is a contact sport. Life is a contact sport. And if you in your home or on your block or on your ranch, and you think that you have the complete design on every human being out here, you only fooling yourself. So that's kind of what this work is about too, is, okay, energy is my tool, right? Energy is my tool in my toolbox, but ultimately community is what I'm about, so it's just a way for me to work with you, because I know that energy is almost a human right. It is a human right at this point. So let's just hit it at the basics. Let's break some bread. And I think we're gonna see a lot more things the same than we see different at the end of the day.
Now let's go with the military. You served how many years in the Army, and what was that like? How did that help you to be where you at right now?
8 years total in the Army. I was a reservist though. So I thought I was being slick. I try to sign up as a reservist. I'm like, man, Clinton is in Clinton. I'm gonna just do my 1 weekend, do my 1 week a year, get my college paid for, finish at SIU, and I'm gonna be golden, man. I got that call, and man, it almost took the life out of me, but but ultimately, you know, I stepped up and did what I needed to do. So I was out in Afghanistan, in Kandahar, and also in Bagram for 16 months, and doing a lot of special operations work. So a lot of what I just discussed around, you know, content development and being mobile with it, with the intention to broadcast kind of pro-American, you know, propaganda, if you will, in theater. So I'm very, you know, I'm intimate when it comes to hearts and minds. I understand how that works. So it makes me look at the news a certain way. You know, I really don't watch too much news because I've been on the other end of that. You know, so I'm not gonna turn the gun on myself. You know, that kind of thing.
Big time, big time.
Yes, sir.
But
Yes,
what I
sir.
always tell people, because with the 4th of July, you know, it says something when you can't appreciate somebody else. So if I'm with my Mexican buddy, I'm with my white brother, it says a certain security I have with myself to be able to celebrate what's important to them and
No
not
doubt.
be so angry and bitter. But now I didn't get mine, so I don't want you to join yours. And that's how I feel with the 4th of July. I've served with people who I know their hearts was in a good place.
That's it.
They loved ones who cared about the country. We know it's some bad seeds here. We get that, but we shouldn't be so angry and bitter that we can't even enjoy the fact that this country is great and we help make it great. So we
help
shouldn't
make it
like, nah, the country ain't nothing. Because if you ain't been outside the country, you're not even in position to even
Speak
know
on
what
that.
else is out
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
You know?
Exactly. I mean, it's you would be surprised, you know. And then what's so interesting is you go to other countries, folks who have less are enjoying life more than you, right? I mean, you go to Ghana and you driving down the street and it's people out there with lawn chairs on the street with the music up. They might not have ate all day. They dancing outside. Because it's an honor and privilege to be alive. It's an honor and privilege to be able to connect with somebody, you know, and I think that's what it's really all about. If we can get back to the love thing, you know, I think we can really get some things done. So I like what you said with respect to being able to have an appreciation for white brothers, for Mexican brothers, for our Asian brothers, you know, but I make no mistake about where my priorities lie, because I feel like I need to take care of my household first before I can really enjoy outside. But I still love you. But I got to take care of my house first.
And they can't say they love you if they want you to sacrifice your base for them. Like whoever want to use you like that, you got to look at them sideways. So I tell people, no group should be mad at blacks want to do for self. You should want that. You know,
you should want that. You should want that. I mean, I love, you know, it's always, I always marvel when I drive on Lakeshore and Cermak, right? And you see what they're able to do with Chinatown over there. It is phenomenal. You have your own pharmacy, you have your own grocery store. You need taxes done? Cool, we got you. You need some legal representation? Got you there. If you need some clothes sewn, I got you there. It is a closed loop community, right? That is self-sustaining, but still opens its door. Me and my wife go down to the restaurant over there all the time and take part in that cuisine over there. So, you know, I don't think that we should be shy or even, you know, with what African Americans specifically have contributed to this country. I don't even think we need to ask permission. We just need to go ahead and get that done. We need to get that done.
No. And that's a perfect segue into what's coming. Like you partnered up with Dewan, with Israel, Donna J. Like how did y'all get together? What's the linkage there, you know?
Man, so you know, I joined Fabric Brands about 3.5 years ago. And I was introduced to Dewan and DeAndre through a mutual buddy. We were on the basketball court competing, and you know, I got a mouth on me, so I tend to draw a little attention. So Dre and I connected in that way, and he asked me what I was doing. I was telling him about my work out in Africa around infrastructure, and he said, "Well, we're doing infrastructure over here, but in a different way. We're doing it through real estate. I said energy and real estate, that's you can't build a house and not light it, so that's where the conversation started. And we learned about Israel's mission over at Fabric Impact House. That's 200 West Madison. At that point, he needed some support in terms of development, and we came in and helped him out there, but realized we had more in common than not. He was also somebody that was thinking largely about infrastructure, and not just infrastructure as we know it, but support services, right? What do support services look like? Because you have the physical infrastructure, but as my uncle says, you have your human infrastructure, right? Your family infrastructure. So you're looking at the needs for survival, right? Like hunger. Okay, you're talking about homelessness, right? You're talking about economic development, equity resources. These are the things that if we at least take them off the table, or at least reduce the amount of anxiety and burden
That's right.
on our people, they can unlock whatever gifts and talents are within themselves and be able to, be a positive add or a positive value contributor to society. So through that, we developed a model called TREC. That is the Technology Renewable Energy Command Center. Okay, and that is a stand-up building, a project that we're using to address issues of workforce development. Hey, I'm looking at the terrain right now, and when it comes to jobs and the workforce, we're in a dire strait right now. This is a critical point in American history, and I don't think folks really understand what's going on. Right? Yeah. You're talking about the automation of jobs. I can go to a Wendy's right now and order and get my food made and walk out the door without interacting with a human being.
They call it contactless, right?
Contactless. So you're talking about jobs going away, right? And somebody is creating that environment, right? So what side of the equation are we going to be on? Right. And if we identify the roles that are obviously going to support, these corporate giants and their bottom lines, right? If they're running away in this fashion, how do we position our people and give them access to that technology and that training, that certification, that valuable experience on the ground that allows them to walk out of our doors and address the issues, again, of hunger, homelessness, economic development, and equity resources. Because if you're too hungry, you ain't gonna study. If you're homeless, you outside, you ain't trying to hear it, right? If you don't have a job, who are you gonna pool with to buy that property and do anything economically? Where are you gonna start that business at? So equity resources, you ain't got no shares, no ownership in nothing. You can't even get a Robinhood account. So it's really about trying to close that divide, and we're using TREC as a model to do that. Now we have to give thanks, to the creator for putting all these pieces together. Again, I can't get enough of Brother Reven Fellows, man. That brother is one of the most dynamic human beings that I've ever come in contact with, and through him, we're luckily able to come in contact with yourself and a few of the brothers, that we met over at Fabric Impact House, around just inspirational, activity and movement of people that'll allow us to position and take our proper place when it comes to, everything that's coming down the pike. So you're talking about government. If you watch how, the federal government is moving, they're moving towards high level technology and automation. So you can be a bit of a weatherman if you watch what's going on, and you can see where things are going, right? It's partly cloudy with a chance of rain. Where you might want to get an umbrella, because otherwise you're gonna get wet. So I think TREC is positioning itself as a resource for the community. And we're not a ivory tower, okay, where everything gets done at Trek. We are an enabler because we understand infrastructure. There's folks already doing work, putting in work on the ground, right? So it's not about, hey, come here and do everything here. It's, okay, who's doing really great work in the community, right? But how do we assist them and at the same time show some level of accountability, right? So and then support government, because government has their initiatives, but they're very broad swaths, right? It's like we're going to create this environment for you to come and play, and you got to understand how government works, because it's your civic duty to get involved, right? If you say woe is me and you never educate yourself on how to get involved, then there's not much folks can do for you. So we want to be a liaison for the community and for great community organizations that need our support, that need dollars, right? Not just a pat on the back. We talking about making sure that there are resources flowing to the folks doing the work, but then have an accountability system that measures impact, right? And says, okay, how do we fine tune this so that the next year we can do even better, reach even more people, build even more skills, mental health services, homelessness, shelters, like everything, it's all part of it. Because at the end of the day, human capital is the most essential piece. I don't care what they talking about, robots and AI, and I'm not trying to hear that. The human brain is the best computer. So if I'm not mistaken, some of that processing was actually modeled after the way we process information in our brain. So we are the original design. But don't get me. I get worked up a little bit when it comes to this stuff. Yeah,
man. And I think the key, because I want to pick your brain on AI. They got UBI, Universal Basic Income, and if it gets to that place where people are ultimately just not employed but collecting the check, I still think we got the continent of Africa that gives us a great amount of latitude to do real. I mean, it's just some building that can happen at an astronomical rate. To me,
man, I know folks got relatives or got bloodline ancestral, whether you got German in you or you got Native American in you or whatever you want to claim. Africa is open and it's waiting. It's waiting for its sons and daughters to return. Can you hear me? I'm on mute. You can't hear me? Hello? No? Hello?
Is it me, Senyo? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Let me try to come back in. Let me try to go out and then come back in. I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna leave and then come back.
No, we good. It was somebody calling me, so that's what that was.
Okay.
But yeah, you talking about Africa in the future.
Yeah, I mean, Africa's waiting for its sons and daughters to come home. I mean, Ghana almost 3 years ago was offering citizenship to Black Americans, right? That wanted to repatriate. So, and you don't see that courtesy extended when it goes in the other direction. So it just shows you where the priorities are and where they're prepared to invest, right? They're prepared to have you come in. There's some investment in advisory services if you're into that. If you want to just come in and you have a certain set of skills that you want to deploy, there's ways to navigate those waters. So I would say, let's keep our options as open as possible. Right. And there's nothing wrong with a little redundancy, a little resilience in there. Say this dystopian future that we're predicting never happens. at the end of the day, you have a strong tie in another nation that still, allows you to be solid, and you can replicate a lot of what you see different cultures doing, right? A lot of the Indian community and the Chinese and the Mexican community, they come here, they work, they build wealth, and then they go and, build their communities back home. Black Americans, African Americans are definitely afforded that opportunity. We just have to seize it.
I think the key to, like, no matter what, I don't care what technology do, you go live and you go die. And when you live, you gotta eat, you gotta have a place to be. So to me, when we really cut down to the nuts and bolts, it's how you live. And when you can be connected to a continent, you can meet new people, learn. There's so much to learn in Africa, all the tribes, all the history. So just imagine that type of life where you just constantly being enriched. You're being enriched. Your basic needs are met, and now you're being enriched. So I just think the future.
That's why they happy on the ground. I always joke with people. I say, you got to be trying to go hungry in Ghana. You have, because you can literally bump your head against a tree and a coconut will fall down, a mango will fall down. You can catch you a chicken and do what you need to do. I mean, this is you are literally going on a fast if you're trying to go hungry out. And so, I had to unwind certain things, and I was born here in Chicago, but I was sent to Africa at 2 years old by my parents to learn language, culture, protocol, etc. But I came out here around like 10, 11, and I would look on the TV and see Sally Struthers feeding Africans, and it was mind blowing, because I'm like, it's food all around. It's food all around. What's she feeding them for? So that was when I didn't really understand the power of a narrative. I didn't understand the power of media. I didn't understand that was an agenda. But as I grew, I learned to understand these things, and it helped me value, where we're from even more. So I would, again, not to oversell it, but I am an evangelist for the continent. So if you're thinking about where do people go these days? Santorini, or where Paris, or Hawaii, etc. Give Africa a chance. If not Ghana, you can go to Dakar. If not Dakar, you can go to Burkina Faso. It's so many beautiful places, man.
I mean, I call it chasing European models of success versus chasing African models of success. When we dream about going to Paris because of the conditioning that we've been under here, and we just following that, when you got white people in Africa living good on the coast, all along the waterfront, but they don't show that because it messes with the narrative that's being pushed.
Exactly. So we back to the hearts and minds. To the hearts and minds.
Now in Georgia, when I'm in Georgia in the South, we in the Trump country, all ruby red, and I was shocked to see these African shirts, picture of the continent saying "Live Free" or "Live Africa" something, and I'm saying, "Dang man, why are these white people with the African shirts?" It almost made me feel like they in better position than me. So I'm like, man, what's going on? Come to find out, the big church out there, have a mission there. So So they send money, but it's really to their people who's running, like you said, changing the narrative of these people need us, we the savior. And then they got a store with the African continent up there. So they going in there buying their shirts. That's why people all over town got the shirts. So that money is going to them. Then it's going to support their people supporting Africa that probably is over there just love it, feeling like they the God over there, feeling like they the savior. And I said, look at this. This is just crazy. In this all white town, they got the African shirts on like that's they where they from.
Well, they're gonna figure out how to make some money now. That ain't never gonna be a problem. But I think you have that in all pockets. I'm the type of person where I gotta see for myself, right? If you tell me something, I'm going there. Even if I read something in a book and it strikes me a certain way, in my mind, I'm like, okay, when I put my pennies together, I'm going there to see if it's really like that for myself. If we adopt that and say, look, God or whoever you pray to or don't pray to, right? This earth is ours, all of it. All these lines that they didn't drawn up are arbitrary. Somebody sat somewhere and decided that that's where the earth belongs to all of us. As long as you breathe and you got a heartbeat,
That's right.
That's your dominion. So you go over there and you see what that's about for yourself, you know, and let that inform you, and let your interaction with the people inform what your mind state is when it comes to them, you know. So I'm an advocate of getting off your block first, getting out your state, you know, getting out your country, you know, and as soon as they start putting together these trips to Mars and dropping that price down, you know, we'll be out there too. You
can keep that, Senyo. I want to deal with the there's too many places in Africa I ain't been, so you can go up there. I don't want to go up there right now. I'm gonna stay. I want to experience all Africa.
I ain't mad at it.
I'm gonna stay closed-minded on that one for a minute.
No doubt.
So man, brother, I appreciate your time, man. This is what it's about, because this is on YouTube. It's gonna be on YouTube as well. And this way people can get to know like you and what we get ready to do together. How do people reach you, man? How do people connect with you?
So I'm Senyo, Senyo, Kwasi, Kwasi on Facebook, Senyo_Adore on Instagram, and then our company is Fabric Brands LLC. So you can Fabric Brands FBRK. So we taking out all the vowels. Brands BRANDS LLC.com.
And people should be excited with us working together, because what y'all bring to the table, married with what we bring to the table, man.
I said I have never seen an accountant-like approach to activism. I said this is so clean, man. The day I first met you and saw the system and learned about the National Block Club, I couldn't stop talking about it, man. So I might need to get some consultation myself from you, man, because your organizational structure is out of this world, brother. I definitely I got a lot of love for you, man. Appreciate you.
And you know what I say, man? I just took what I saw on that Navy ship, man, said, hey, this makes sense for us, man. Let's go.
No doubt.
So that's what I give credit to, man. But man, love to you, my brother, man.
Likewise.